Osiris.
We're live here on Tuesday, a little bit less sizzled than post-space bacon somehow. So it's sizzling a little bit out there.
I've been keeping up the bacon intake. Let's just put it that way. I'm still sizzling a little.
And taking the bacon. Let's let a few of our homies get in here. If you're here, say hi in the chat. We want to know you're here. We're talking Goosemas today, as y'all probably know. Bruce, what'd you think? You know, since Goosemas concluded, what have you been up to?
A lot of sleeping. I was awake for the drive back from Goosemas. And then I was basically asleep till I think this morning when I was hit up by work for something that I haven't even started. So that was really when I woke up, I think. But a lot of sleeping, definitely a lot of eating. I've had a lot of pizza, as is Goosemas tradition, you know. Yeah. Pizzas are big in Goosemas. John once ordered like 100 pizzas for the first Goosemas, so it's just always been a tradition.
100 pizzas, 2 salads.
How about you? What have you been doing?
Got back to New York City. Spent about 36 hours in the fetal position. Emerged a new man. You know, felt like a little like a red bird had hatched.
Just born out of the cocoon or the egg, pecking your way out of the nutritious egg.
The bird cocoon. Got a question for Daniel Ralph, first one of the day. What kind of CBD tea are you drinking today?
Honestly, today is all amphetamines. I got metabolic enhancers in the system because I've been eating a ton of pizza. It's got to burn off some of that fat. So I'm actually drinking. It's funny that you mention it, because when I get free stuff, I plug it on the show. I love to sell out. So this is tea from my friend Kaylee, who has a company called Rooted in Rhythms.
Rooted in Rhythms.
Little logo here. Yeah. And she makes botanicals and herbal products for, kind of specially designed for things that musicians might need. But this tea actually has some yerba mate in it, some, flowers that I don't know of. Lavender I do know of, so it's really good, full of caffeine. I am lit, hyped up, ready to go. Maybe a little too much. I think my body temperature is rising. My heartbeat might be 220, but we're good. We're good.
Silver rising.
Yeah. So I forgot the CBD. I don't even think it could help.
CBD could fix this man today. Look who's in the chat. Joey Parisi, ladies and gentlemen, also known as the third host of
what up,
man?
Joey undercover at work chatting.
Oh yes. Oh my God, Raleigh DeVore in the building.
Oh,
hey Raleigh,
we got one of the Raleighs.
I'm here too. So feel free to acknowledge me as well. What's up, Amy? How's it going, Amy? Hope you had a good Goosemas.
Did I win any money, Alexander? No, because I don't gamble, because when I do, I just lose money. But I got these bills here from Mark Chavone. Hey. Oh, snap.
I know
those. Those aren't unfortunately worth a lot of money. But but I did win those. So thanks to Mark Chavone, by the way, for doing those. He's got a set for the band and some other community members like Otto and John Caruso from El Goose. So El Goose Times. So check those out. Those are cool. Oh, I see John Caruso's in the chat as well. Speaking of,
I won some money this weekend.
You did?
Who don't know? Yeah, the half of Goosemas, it seemed like, ended up in our room. So I I cashed out at about 6 a.m. Won $200 playing Hold'em with Pete Mason, editor of NYS Music. Funny enough, I didn't realize that I was only playing Hold'em against the house and not the rest of the table. But still managed to win.
That's it. The reverse psychology move. Yeah, that's right. We were talking about that at 6 a.m. after the 50 people left our room. I also want to call out, since I mentioned John Caruso before, they did this great El Goose Times for the original show that was scheduled for December. They were still handing those out, but check out the new volume released today with cool artwork by Kai Cousin. Shout out to Kai. Yeah, and it's a great another addition to the All Goose Times. So definitely look for that if you guys are going to the DC shows or any of these shows coming up this leg.
Yeah, big week coming up. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Brawley wants to know if he should hit the 9:30 Club shows this week. Of course, you should.
I would. If I wasn't swamped with stuff to do because I've been ignoring my job, then I would be going. But I decided I needed the job because we need money to put on this podcast. So
I'm going to make some money around here. So if you're around, the DC area, go, check out Ryan Storm. He's on tour. Meet the man in person. Even more of a baby face in person, it turns out. Big Smith wondering if the gem of the year 2021 has been decided. Not quite yet. We're in the round of 32. But get on at Drive Goose on Twitter and vote there. David Miller on the way to 9:30. I want to actually give a shout out to two close fans, Kara and Nas from DC. Bruce and I were supposed to stay with them at the 9:30 Club for the 9:30 Club shows this weekend. We're not going. They bought all the ingredients to make us butter chicken.
Am I really not going? I could hop on an Amtrak for butter chicken.
Still time for an Amtrak, Bruce, if you want to do it. But if you're there at the 9:30 Club, try those cupcakes. But Kara, Nas, we love you both dearly. We'll make it up to you in Philly somehow.
Some way. I fall short on my promises a lot, so just keep that in mind.
So we're making moves here. Thank you, all of you, for tuning in. These Tuesdays have been a whole bunch of fun. It's good to know that, frankly, a lot of people we know are willing to be wholly unproductive.
Thank you to all of you.
Let's talk a little bit about Goosemas, man. This was an incredible year. Obviously, the biggest Goosemas yet. Huge production. Mohegan Sun. As EJ said, these casino maps are not psychedelically friendly. However, the lights certainly are. That's what kept me up so late, of course. Incredible weekend. Mohegan, I think, has special significance in all of our lives. We've seen a lot of shows there over the years. My first concert there, I think I mentioned this a couple Tuesdays ago, was Maroon 5. Unfortunately, Bruce Adam Levine's shirt was not off. Maroon 5
doesn't make sense. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Songs About Jane tour. That was cool. I never thought I'd be at a show, there where my friends were playing, and I was somehow tangentially involved. Caught Fish there a couple times, saw Prince there, and now on this illustrious list we have Goose. Bruce, tell me a little bit about what you did the night before Goosemas, all through the house.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, so let's back up. So before Goosemas, I did get a little warmed up here in Connecticut with Joey and our friends in Residual Groove, the Edwards brothers, up at Tribus Brewery in Milford, Connecticut. It's a really cool spot, and they do make some great beers. So if you are ever in, the Fairfield County area, go check that out. Milford's got a ton of cool spots, honestly. But Tribus is actually a great spot to see a show. They have a good setup for a small show, big bar. Like I said, a lot of good beers. They got a back room with game tables and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. We got to go with a bunch of friends. Some of the photographers that were at Goosemas, Jamie Hunefeld, Quinn, they were there, and just connected with a lot of people before the Goosemas event, which is a little bit of a whirlwind for you and I. We had to do some work because it said it on my pass. I was working. But yeah, so we had to do some work before. So it took up a bit of a chunk of our time, but it was all good. It worked out well. We still got to see a lot of people, which I was happy about. And, I wanted to go back then to what you were saying. One of my bigger regrets is not seeing Prince when he was at the arena. I think, I don't remember back when that was, but it was right before like a Fish New Year's, and I'd already done a ton of Fish that year. And then the seats were like for the upper bowl were like, I don't know, $275 or $300 at the time I was looking at tickets, and I was like, I just can't swing it. Now, unfortunately, he passed away. I think like the next year or 2 years later,
a few months later.
Yeah, that was right away. Yeah, so that was a big regret now that you mention it, man. But I've never been to the theater, to the arena. I've only been to the theater there in like high school to see Alabama. And I don't know if any of y'all know Alabama, but one of the best Southern pop country rock acts ever, in my opinion. Much less offensive.
Florida Georgia Line.
Yeah, much less offensive than Florida Georgia Line. I don't even think I could listen to more than a minute of that. But yeah, check out Alabama. I even have a license plate, but didn't never put it on my car for obvious reasons. So, but yeah, it was the only time. So I was really excited to see the arena, and especially, like you said, to see our boys playing there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, back to that Prince thing one more time. So that was, I think that those shows were 2015. It was December
2015. Okay.
27th, 2015. That was my Christmas present to my parents. Was those Prince tickets. And,
cool.
Yeah, we had to like drag my mom out of there during his 5th encore. You know, she was loving the show, but it was great. You know, it was an incredible evening. I never really saw my parents get down like that, so I went from 27th at Mohegan to 4 straight nights of Fish, which was super cool. Yeah. So really, you know, awesome experience getting Mohegan Sun, quick, easy. We can announce it now. We did a huge interview, arguably, with the exception of Franz Petit-Lupin, probably the biggest guest we've ever had on The Great Beyond. So next week, we will be releasing an episode. We head down the pathway with the one and only Pete Shapiro of Brooklyn Bowl, of the Capitol Theater, of Relics Magazine, of Dayglow Ventures. We talked to Shapiro. He dug in with us, somehow understood our humor.
Joey doesn't seem to remember the interview, but yes, we did. Joey, you actually put together all the materials, if you don't recall.
Oh, yeah, Joey.
But yeah,
look at that. So, check out. Yeah, be on the lookout for that interview coming next Wednesday. That's going to be an awesome episode. Really looking forward to listening back to that one. You know, if we can even get our sound engineer to get it mixed, who knows?
That's right, Robbie Chemical.
So, you know, I think this whole thing, this whole show, the whole spectacle of it was pretty incredible. I mean, first time in an arena, green rooms, locker rooms, catering, Gatorade, beer.
Tons of locker rooms.
Yeah, tons of locker rooms.
I left our locker room and couldn't find the locker room, and somebody directed me to another locker room, where Ben and some other dude had some very strange glasses on. Ben was shirtless and he was getting lasered. And I said, this is not where we're interviewing Pete. Do you guys know where it is? And they did not. They seemed like they were involved in something. So I left.
Yes. That's gotta get warmed up. Yeah. That's got
Ben needs his physical body worked out in many different ways. So we're not going to get into too many of those details. Right. Although
we'll wait to have him on. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, good call. Yeah, we need him. But yeah, once I figured out where all the locker rooms were, I figured out where all the beer was, and then I utilized the green rooms to the fullest extent at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, what a crazy backstage, dude. Huge, and then huge columns backstage with all of these cool acts logos, like printed on there, like stamped on there, and then signed underneath that shit. It was really, really cool. So I don't know if they let Goose do that yet, you know?
Yeah, right.
But it was really cool to see all that backstage, and a lot of cool records on the wall, a lot of cool commemorative memorabilia back there. So it was really, really neat.
Definitely. Huge shout out to our homie Janie Lunn.
Happy birthday. Was it yesterday? Is it today?
Apparently, course, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna talk a little bit about it. But huge congratulations to Ben and Sam on their engagement. Well, let's get to that. That's a set thing. That's on the agenda.
That's a track. Yeah, it's a track we got to recap. So, yeah.
Ben, have you told Sam about the process of getting lasered by a man backstage? Maybe we want to talk to her about that a little bit. Let's dig in. Let's dig into the music, the thing we allegedly know a little bit about. So set one, like full disclosure, I'm still kind of processing all of this. Like it was just such an amazing experience that I haven't quite soaked it all in yet. Or at least that's what I'll attribute my cognitive capacity to.
It's a good excuse, if any. I'm going to go with that more often.
Opener, Linus and Lucy. Probably not a surprise to anybody there. Classic, the old one, too. Shake off the jitters with some Vince Guaraldi. My favorite Goosemas opener, of course. It only makes sense. So Linus and Lucy got that out of the way, and then Yeti.
Yeah,
boom.
hopping right into Yeti. Yeah. Which is good because it's like an opener anyway in those slots. They did that with the new songs, play a new song and then boom, play a classic opener kind of after that, and it's kind of a good way to lead into gives you like one long opener. Linus and Lucy was shorter, So then jumping into Yeti, which people love to hear those opening notes too, and that really did build up, the energy in the crowd right away.
Yep. Yeah, that was. I mean, sweet. And Quinn, you mentioned it, took the words right out of my mouth. Peter getting athletic on top of that baby grand. That was pretty incredible. The crowd was super hype on the floor. That was like one of the things I immediately noticed. That energy was absolutely infectious. As soon as like Peter got up on that piano, hands went up, and people were really loving it. And I feel like that kind of as a bit of a performer myself, I know it's a little bit unsettling until you kind of get a crowd reaction at all. So I feel like that was really it where
you look at it.
It was like, okay, we've arrived. According to Storm, that ain't a baby grand piano.
Yes. So I do have. So Ryan actually noted that I have re-listened to the show. I did last night. So yes, thank you for pointing that out, Ryan. Bruce is prepared today.
Yeah.
I'm also prepared to say that that wasn't a baby grand because the entire show I couldn't wait to get backstage to make fun of Peter about it because I had a really good one. And I said, "Oh, hey Peter, is that a baby grand or are they letting you play the adult one these days?" And he said, "Fuck you." And that was pretty much my answer. No, but he did mention that it was actually a full grand. Yep. And Ryan said full Yamaha C7 grand piano. It was a full grand that he was playing up there. And man, those keys dude sound so nice, especially in an arena. It's just so clear and it's almost like ringing a bell, out of the grand piano compared to what kind of sounds and effects you get out of the keys. So what a surprise. Cool that Mohegan had the backline baby grand. And I think I heard they're going to be playing at some venues that also might have one. So let's see if they keep pulling that out in the future. That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know Radio City, someone said, had a house piano. I can only imagine that Radio City piano is probably like an old one from the 1800s or something that if Peter climbs up on might fall to pieces. So rock and roll, right?
Well, Peter's vegan, so I think he weighs a little less than a feather by technical standards. So I don't think it'll actually break. Oh, also shout out to Chris Quinn, Mighty Quinn Media. Shout out to Adam Berta, Focal Points at Local Joints. Took some great pictures of Peter up on that piano that are almost like frame worthy. So if you're online, check some of those out. We had a lot of great photographers there this weekend. Jake Silico, Jay Blakesberg, Adam, like I mentioned, Quinn, like I mentioned, Jamie Hunenfeld, like I mentioned, was at the Travis the other night. She was also taking pictures. So go check all those photos out, man. Everybody gets cool photos in different ways. And Brian Murphy too took some good shots that are up on Instagram. Sure. So check all those guys out. They're all so talented in and of themselves. So and a lot of great photos from the event to really capture what it was like at the arena for the first time for these guys. It was incredible.
And quick little aside here, just because I want to just, plug myself as much as I possibly can. Shout out to Matt McNulty, our good friend of the band. You may see us
McNulty
Love Seat. Stay tuned for, well, maybe not today, but some more information about the project that could involve myself. But enough. This is we're prone to tangents here. We're only on.
All we do is take asides in this show. I'm not really. It's not linear.
Yes, not at all. That's type 2 podcasting all day. Atlas Dogs. Bruce, tell me a little bit about your thoughts on Atlas Dogs. I was getting ready to do that interview with Rick and Peter that I guess nobody heard. So I actually kind of missed part of the set 1. So tell me a little bit about yes, thank you, Joey. Tell me a little bit about what you hear, what you see, what happened.
Well, I think a lot of people are familiar with this now. They played it a few times. It's a new song. It's got like this continuous drumline beat that kind of gives the song a lot of energy, even though the vocals and some of the rhythm over the top of that, some of the melody over the top of that is almost, is again one of those more like vibey, indie-ish kind of feel. But the drumline kind of keeps it going. And like we've talked about, man, I can't put my finger on whether or not, how I feel about Atlas Dawes. Sometimes I'm feeling like, oh, maybe it's one of my lesser favorites of the new songs. Sometimes I feel like it hits and sounds good. And they've only played it a few times, so it's really hard to tell. I like this version, but I was talking to a lot of people yesterday who kind of, were, out of all the new stuff that they played at Goosemas, they did play 7 new songs. Like, some first time plays. I think this was one that just didn't click as much with some people. I thought it was kind of good placement. I thought the jamming was pretty cool after the composed part, kind of like a fluttering rock style jam from Rick. And then the last 4 or 5 minutes were like more moody. You're getting a lot of keys towards in these jams, sometimes towards the end, like Peter carrying a lot of them. And I don't know if maybe that was just because of the baby grandma, although sometimes I did see him on the keyboards too. But he was getting showcased a lot in these, and he gets showcased a little bit towards the end of this. Trevor, this is the jam that really, he always sounds good in Yeti. This is a jam that clicked for me. It was like, man, I was listening last night and I was like, God, man, Trevor, he sounded good in the arena and he sounds good on the soundboard. He really stands out a lot in this show in general, but he sounded fantastic. He sounded fantastic.
This is a big Trev show.
It's the Tweak show today. So he sounded fantastic in this and throughout the jam segment, especially, but really throughout the entire song, and then I just, I didn't think it was that bad. Maybe it was a little long. I just think maybe a lot of people were on the fence about Atlas Dawes. So it's kind of an interesting new song to get takes on. But then I was more interested really. Then after that, we got the Echo of a Rose, the fast version of that, which I thought after that kind of, flowing, kind of marching Atlas Dawes, then they take a break and then jump into Echo of a Rose. The fast version's cool because it's dancey, it's a little bit more up tempo. And Echo of a Rose has great lyrics. I just love that song. There was some hot takes on this fast Echo.
Let's talk about these hot takes. So first of all, obviously after a band's biggest show in their history, we need hot takes in All Goose. Like there's reason why there's a junior and senior analyst that exist here. And that's
who are they? Who are they?
We apply, right? We've moved up, I suppose. But yeah, some hot takes. What was the big thing? Was it Leon George in All Goose who mentioned?
Yeah.
Multiple tempo changes.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That, it's almost like now that they have variation in tempo for All I Need, for So Ready, even though So Ready and Slow Ready are more than just variation in tempo, they're really different songs. Just using the same lead. But it's like, and then you get so we have the Tumble and Tumble, the So and So Ready, AIN. Now we have Echo with different versions of it. I think they have a lot of different versions of a lot of these songs. It's kind of nice that they can still play these hits that sound great in different styles and can fit in set lists because they're different styles. So somebody, I think it was our buddy Cam. Yeah, you guys like Fast Echo. So I didn't at first. When we heard it in Austin, Greg and I were in Austin, I just was like,
these guys already travel over to Texas. We can't even see them.
I was like, but and I think it grew on me. The one from Mission was sick.
Yeah.
I
love that. That's incredible. Mission is what sold me.
Yeah. So then this one too, I'm just like, now I'm looking forward to hearing it. And I re-listened last night and I thought it was pretty good, but not only Leon, but a lot of people, I just think they thought it was sloppy. He doesn't think the cadence of the lyrics and the dance beat don't mix. I think that's what I was thrown off by the first time we heard it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know what do you think, Greg?
I think Connor's dad's shrooms kicked in during Echo, and he proceeded to smile his way through his first Goose show. That's what I want to hear.
Oh, drugs are good, songs are good. It's easy peasy.
We're here. So maybe for all of you who had a little trouble with Fast Echo, feel free to reach out to Connor's dad for the right shrooms to access the music. Okay, so we're better. Maybe we need more tangents. I don't really know.
It's hard to tell what is actually a tangent and what we were meant to talk about. So
we need you, Joey. So followed up by So Ready. Obviously, you know me, joyous that it was not Slow Ready. This was obviously a show that required a So Ready. You know, classic heater. And I was happy. Thought it was going to be just that closer, actually. So I was starting to sweat for my interview. We got a beautiful Silver Rising.
Yeah. Silver Rising is a cool song. And I guess this is a slightly different arrangement than the first time. Echo over Strum. Good one, Brian. I like that.
Like that one. Yeah, we're keeping that one. Silver Rising, beautiful. Like I said, will totally be on the soundtrack for the Teen Wolf reboot.
Yeah, that's I can't wait till they start getting very specific songs about werewolves on soundtracks. That's going to be the next step in their evolution. That's it. One thing I love about this song, and I really grew to like about Redbird after actually taking the time to listen to the song finally, was that these vocal rounds are cool. They kind of set this cool ambiance and mood that feels different than when you try to do the same sort of mood with instruments, and in jamming. So it just gives them another layer to add to some of these jams and some of these atmospheres that they create during shows. So I've grown to like that a lot. Peter's vocals are sounding better all of the time, and Rick and Peter are clicking on timing and harmonizing a lot better all of the time as well. And so these rounds are really working for me. It's neat to hear more of that in these songs where you don't hear that a lot in jam bands. So it's pretty cool.
I'm liking those rounds as well. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
I heard, tonight at 9:30 Club, we're going to get a 26-minute row your boat. So, it's gently down the stream.
I should have taken that Amtrak, dude.
Yeah.
Butter chicken and rowing a boat, baby.
Come on, dog. We're missing out. So set one over into Interview with Greg Knight. Thank you for those of you who tuned in and listened to it. Apparently there were some audio issues, but got some good comments from Rick and Peter. Got some, good to kind of break down the set with them. But, I'm glad we could figure out the audio issue. Thank you to every single person that texted and called me while I was on to let me know that
there were a lot.
Issues. Yeah, it was good as I was trying to read the comments on the stream. Got about 6 phone calls and texts. But my mom said I did a good job based on what I had, so I can only imagine it was okay. Set one, quick set break, back in for set two, opened with a Rockdale. The guys released Rockdale yesterday on YouTube. Check it out. Feel free to watch and argue about how many people were there based on looking at the seats. Rockdale was awesome. Kind of a standard one. Heard some grumblings about them playing Rockdale a lot lately. What do you think about that, Bruce?
Yeah, man. I mean, like we were saying, dude, there were hot takes, take after hot take Sunday and Monday. I'm kind of surprised by that a little bit. But yeah, I can't get enough of Rockdale. I mean, somebody had posted on the board, a longtime fan, Matt Ferrari, he's a big fan. But he, posted about, it was kind of tongue in cheek, but posted about maybe putting Rockdale to bed for a little bit because they've played it quite a bit since they kind of introduced it at Fred. But it's like, again, I think people forget a lot of the evolution of this band over the course of the COVID period, where even still today, with 18,000 people in El Goose, just for example, and we have subreddits, we have Twitter, everything, but just for El Goose, so we have 16,000 people uniquely who are active every month. And a lot of them still have not seen the band or have seen them once.
Right.
And like, if they're going to go see them, they've heard all these recorded versions of Rockdale that are sick. It's like, oh man, I'd love to hear that live. Well, the band knows that. They're going to go play in these new places.
Sure.
They want to play it for these fans that have never gotten to see them. And so Rockdale's still getting a lot of play. It's less than a year old. I love hearing it. I think it's sick. I don't think they need to kind of take it out of the rotation anytime soon.
Right.
But I get where he's coming from. He saw it I think he said 3 or 4 times in like 6 shows. And that's just kind of partly luck. And that's just the way they've been playing and putting together set lists. So, there will be one day when you're not seeing Rockdale and
you're going to ask for it back.
Yeah, I'll be backstage, pushing Rick up against the wall and saying, "Where's Rockdale?" So stuff like that. So it'll be my last time backstage. So
let's move away from this. Like, it's my 3rd show. They're playing this song too much.
Yeah.
How many times I've seen all I need? Come on, dog. Come on.
Come on.
So
all I don't need.
all I needed. So on to Redbird. Straight burden up in there. Another one where I was like finally done with responsibilities. Had to go find Connor's dad. And was wrapping up the mics and everything backstage, which is why I left my cables in your bag, Bruce.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on Redbird? They were straight burden through it.
This is the cable, everybody. Cable. Yeah, no, they were straight burden. I mean, like we talked about with Silver Rising, I guess I just love that. I love the vocal jam or the rounds, whatever you want to call that. And the textures that they created of these Redbird jams. Like I really see why people really were attracted to Redbird. It's like kind of a bit of a more mature Peter song. It's fitting more than some of his past songs have, which are a little bit more poppy into like this more, indie kind of more mellow kind of mood kind of vibe. And besides just the singing, they build out these textures and these jams that are, they give you a lot of feeling. They're really melodic and nice, almost kind of like those blissful jams people will talk about. But they do it consistently. So I liked it, definitely. And I was happy to hear it live. I think my first time hearing it live, I only heard it recording. So I was definitely happy to hear it.
Yeah. It was, I think I emerged from backstage during Redbird. And actually was just kind of like, I took my time to walk around a little bit, second set. Wanted to just kind of catch a couple different vantage points and just really, experience the show from a few different places. I really like to do that. Really abuse my all access pass, but also it's cool to just be able to kind of take in the perspective.
Working hard. Well, you actually were working. I mean, I was just like sitting there hoping you would get audio working. So I was moral support most of the night.
Burning calories. So Redbird into Rosewood Heart. I was stoked for a Rosewood. Both Redbird and Rosewood they suit a grand piano so well. I mean, they suit a baby grand very well. I can only imagine they suit grand so well. Good Rosewood jam. I did feel like on the whole, the guys were pretty cautious this show. They didn't take any really grand leaps like into deep dark territory with the jams. They a lot of them were kind of in the box, if you will, and I don't necessarily think that was intentional, but like,
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I hadn't heard people mention online, and I hadn't thought of it.
I'm here for analysis.
Yeah, baby. Analyzing. So it's. I think that's. That Rosewood was only 12 minutes or something like that, 11 and a half minutes. They're normally huge these days, every time practically. Yeah. So, and I think there's probably a bit of that is to, kind of lends itself to how many new songs they were playing, even though they played them live a couple times and whatnot. Some of them were first time played live. That's just, I think that was where they took their leaps and their risks. And a lot of people had noted that online. I think that's where they were putting all their risks at and just wanted to make sure that everything else they were playing, smoothly, flowing smoothly, and just playing clean versions of, because again, I'm sure we had tens of thousands of people watching the Twitch stream, the free stream for the 2020 Goosemas. Yeah. So this one must have had thousands, many more. So like, when you're reaching that big of an audience, there's always this sort of, a very specific way that you're going to want to approach that in that show. And I think that was top of mind for them a lot on Saturday.
Yeah. Follow up from Rosewood, my personal highlight, Sinnerman, Nina Simone cover. First time played, obviously was released, a couple months back in conjunction with Secretly Canadian's 25th anniversary, big fundraiser. But it was a great Sinnerman. I mean, we had a chance to catch up with Rick on Sunday as we were leaving, and he said he felt like they were kind of most locked in there. I agree. That was incredible. I hope that this really, really emerges a little bit more in the live catalog.
I agree. This cover is sweet, and it has it all. It's just the the mood that it puts out. It almost, it has this darker mood just right off the bat, you know, and that's great, because then that lends them to just, if they were going to go out there with a version of this, their studio version that they had released in December is only about 7 minutes or something like that. This was only about 10 or a little less. Yeah. So again, talking about, you know, trying to keep them in the box a little bit, but even then, it just sounds like a psychedelic song. It sounds like they're going out into space anyway, just kind of playing in the same structure. I agree with you, dude. I hope this comes out a lot more, because I'd love to hear this in a lot of different parts in a show. I think it does fit their vibe super well. And if you had something like we had that Into the Mist and then the Can't Get You Out of My Head and Mission, I always think about these, like, you know, transitioning from something like Wisteria to something dark and upbeat like Sinner Man or something like that, or, you know, Out of a Creature. It's the same place you could put a song like Can't Get You Out of My Head, and it just keeps that vibe going. So I think they got a lot of cool stuff to do with this. I really do hope to hear it a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it certainly inspired you and I to sin aggressively after the show, but we don't need to talk about that.
I was just sinning all weekend, to be honest. You know,
I am the sinner man himself. So on to Empress, another one that people said they've heard a lot of. You know, I love Empress. I thought Empress was coming. Wanted just to hear their rip off that piano, you know, and also, you know, music aside, I think it was a standard kind of Empress. But music aside, that pause in Empress was pretty powerful.
Yeah. And, you know, again, even when I was re-listening, I felt like the Empress was a lot longer when I was at the show.
Yeah.
Thanks, Connor's dad. But yeah, I just thought, you know, I felt like it was a lot longer re-listening when I didn't have Connor's dad around. I just wasn't, I noticed that it was only like 13 and a half minutes. And yeah, that pause actually comes kind of early. But man, that was a lot of fun. You know, even though people were reflecting on this show as though it was a little underwhelming from an energy standpoint, because it kind of kept this moody vibe going the entire time. It wasn't as dancey. I think the crowd there, I always felt like had a lot of energy. Every time the crowd had an opportunity to, you know, to use their voices, they were loud, man. And during those cheers, like, they were super loud, you know, and yeah, crowd went off during that pause. Yeah, exactly, Greg. So it's just like, yeah, I don't know. I thought it was great too. And I also thought it was a really good way to end that set with Sinner Man into Empress, you know, cool, dark energy into the cool, fun, you know, positive energy that you get out of Empress.
Yeah, for sure. You know, funny enough, I was, that's when I was doing my kind of cruising of the venue space and popped in and saw a couple people. So I did, I was with our friends, Connor Falvey and Sarah Graber from Relics. Took a little walk over to their section, which was on, what's his name? The guy. Oh yeah, Trevor's side. So I had a really good vantage point for to see Ben's proposal. And, nice. You know, historically, I have been loose-lipped with certain things, but this is something I was managed to keep secret. I had to apologize to Sam afterwards because I was literally avoiding her on, you know, show that I love Sam, love to hang out with Sam, but like anytime she started a conversation with me, I was walking in the opposite direction. So I didn't want to let anything go. So the whole Goose Girls gang was able to keep Sam in one place on side stage. And you know, Ben's proposal went off without a hitch. And then apparently he went backstage to make out with his hot fiance.
It went off without a hitch, besides Ben's normal awkwardness and inability to communicate as smoothly, as eloquently as somebody like, you know, myself or you. Of course. But you know, it could have been better. But no, mm-hmm. I was actually surprised. I didn't even remember, but I had talked to Ben a little bit a while back. Maybe back, it was almost after T5. And I think he actually mentioned to me that him and Sam was kind of looking at rings, or he was thinking about that stuff, you know, and I had totally forgotten about it. And then so when this came around, you know, one of our friends, Eric, Emax, came down and we were talking in the stands. And he's like, do you want to know a special surprise from the set? And I was like, no, dude, I don't care. Yeah. What is it going to be? Some like indie cover? No, I don't give a shit. So like, but you know, I didn't know. And normally I don't want to hear surprises. You know, in the past, John's been so excited about some of the things the band is doing that he's like, oh, you know, do you want to hear about this? I'm like, no, I'd rather be surprised. No. Mm-hmm. So it's like, you know, Eric said the same thing. I was like, no, I had no idea. So I was very excited. I was definitely screaming pretty loud when that was going on, you know, and really super happy for them. They're very good friends of ours, and you know, and just seeing everything come together for the band in terms of all these relationships and in terms of our crew and you know, everything building up in a positive direction. This is just another step. So we're really happy for them and happy everybody got to see it. It was such a cool surprise, I think, for Goosemas and for all the fans there. So, well, yeah, and it got its own track, on the soundboard. Peter thought it was that important to cut it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. We love here at the Great Beyond. So that's great. Congratulations to the Love Birds, the Redbirds, straight bird in love.
Yeah. All right. Now Bruce is done talking about people's relationships.
All right.
New tangent. Now the tangent. I'm taking a sidestep.
Let's take a quick pause to wish a happy birthday to Kathy Kirkies.
Oh, what's up?
Happy birthday, Kathy. Ride or die, the road dog.
Kathy's trekking to DC.
Stream for the fans. We love Kathy here. Kathy, happy birthday to you. Have a great show tonight. All right, let's talk about set 3.
All right, word.
Set 3. What'd they do?
I was just remembering Connor's dad, and I just totally blanked for a second. But yeah, they did all these new songs straight off the beginning of that upcoming album.
They started Born. That's it.
That was the answer. It's in the notes, you know.
Look at this. Your sound engineer Robbie's calling in during the episode. That's excellent.
We love our sound engineer.
We love when people call us and we're live. We love it all the time. So free, call us. Maybe next episode our giveaway will just be call me the most times during live.
Feel free to come knock on my doors also.
Yeah.
Just go for it.
Born. Set 3, most psychedelic
born
ever. Born.
So a new song. It was a single. It's they played it a bunch of times now live, and everybody was questioning how it was going to sound live. I had wrote, that Neptune Theater version from Seattle in early February is awesome. Really changed my mind about Born a lot. Even though I kind of like the song anyway, I thought I could hear it in a live setting. That was a sick one because of the sick jam that came out of it. Again, going back to what you said, Greg, a lot of things that more kept in the box. They knew they were on a time limit, and
the
for
time
this third set,
the time crunch too. Yep,
the time crunch. So this Born clocked in a little over 10 minutes. It was not something like that Neptune Born that went out pretty far. But I like the song. I like it. I've always thought it would be a good set opener. So again, placement I thought was cool. You kind of knew what you were getting in for, I think, once they started playing Born, but especially once they moved into Hunger Site.
Yeah, definitely. So Hunger Site, you know me, love Hunger Site. One quick thing, Teapot, great question. The proposal was not rescheduled for the original Goosemas date. The ring was just finished. So great that that was able to work out. They didn't have a later curfew in December either. This is the timeline that the venue has, and plus it kind of sucks with the way Mohegan approaches selling booze. Get a little rough if they stopped selling beer. We could only buy it one at a time, and then had to wait, to get out of the show
forever.
That'd be rough.
Yeah.
Born was fire. Hunger Site. I've been waiting to hear Hunger Site for a year now. And it lived up to expectations. To me, this Hunger Site was the statement. Like, we are an arena band. Arena sound, big tune.
Yeah.
Let us know in the chat what you thought about Hunger Site. I'm really interested to, because to me, when I first heard the studio recording, it really signaled this band's growth, right? This band's big room potential. And I think it made sense for them to hold on to it and debut it in a room like this.
Yeah. And I actually was, a little confused as to what it was at first. And then I caught wind that it was Hunger Site because I had only heard that draft version like one time, and a little piece of it maybe from the album. So this was my first time really hearing it, really hearing it. And, and then plus, yeah. So what do we say? So I see, Yeah, John Caruso mentioned Hunger Site was fantastic. Daniel mentioned it was. Ryan did. Keith did. I mean, EJ did. So it's like, yeah, I really thought it was very cool song. I get the fact that when you're playing 3 new songs, there's probably a lot of people there who are confused and don't have somebody to tell them, oh, yeah, this is a new song. Or they pick it up on it. They've just never heard it before. So it's an all new experience. It could be either greatest thing ever or a little jarring. For me, I was just so happy to hear these new songs now and seeing that when Hunger Site, it was like starting to think, okay, are they going to go through the album? You know, they didn't have time to do that, but it was kind of starting to come across people's minds. So, but I was definitely enjoying it, just out of the personal pleasure of being able to hear these songs for the first time, hear how they would flow, because I thought that when seeing the album track list, I was thinking, okay, so putting these 3 at the beginning, I guess I can see what they're trying to do for the flow and structure. And I think Slow Ready comes next. So I think it bodes really well for the album. Having a studio album that has that cohesive sound that flows really nicely, both through ups and downs and through the melodies throughout is the what I'm looking for in a studio album.
Definitely.
So I think we're getting to see a little preview of what that's going to sound like.
Yeah. And I think that's a very, very, very important point, is that if you go back and listen to Moon Cabin and Shenanigans, like, the guys really like to put an album together that makes sense and is sequential, and weaves together well. Yeah. And so it was a seamless, kind of step by step into Dripfield. And whew, man, that was ridiculous. A little.
That was a good one.
We're officially going by Drip Van Winkle, Drip Hamilton now.
Drip and drip.
Drippity, droppity. I mean, what do we got? 24 minutes, 26 minutes. Thanks to Brian Murphy for the drips.
Drip drop.
Drip drop, drop drip. So incredible. 24 minutes of just absolute fire flames. And it builds on itself, right? Like, it starts with this arpeggiated synth. It drips, if you will. And, I think the guys were patient. They let this build, and it's kind of like a different it's a different soundscape for them. I feel like so many bands have been so linear, right? Build, peak, build, peak, build, peak. But this was like, that sounds coming left, right, left, right, left. Could have been because it was third set.
Right. Arpeggiated drip. but yeah, like that was the whole thing with leading Greg from Born through Hunger Site through Dripfield. That progression in and of itself, like you said, it's taking people to a whole different space, a whole different realm of soundscapes in these environments the band can put together. That is kind of getting new. It's a newer field. It's heavier indie vibes through Dripulous. It's heavy indie vibes, but it's cool. It's transportative, and that the pacing between Hunger Site and Dripfield, it was like one long segment to me that had all of these different pieces of it that fit together really well. And like you said, it kind of builds and ebbs and flows in a different sort of scenery than a lot of their music does. And I think putting those 3 together and playing them live like that, especially in an arena, now you're testing out the songs live again in a different way, testing them out together, seeing how they can flow, testing them out in the third set to see how people react and what kind of energy you can build, so they had a lot of these opportunities to try out a lot of things and present all of these new songs at once on a live stream to tens of thousands of people. Yeah. So it's like, I get why they took this chance and took this risk. And I thought it was excellent. I thought Dripfield was maybe the highlight of the night. It's between that and Sitterman, for me. So it was an incredible version. And a lot of people who I knew I was talking to who thought Dripfield, when they released the single, was one of the best new songs that they had released recently, whether live or in studio. And we're waiting to hear it live. And I think we got our answer as far as to what they could do with it live.
Yep. And I think really good points here in the chat. Kathy, Brian, EJ, Greg, Jeff, and Ben. Drums were really, really just on display here. I like where things are going with percussion. we can have this ongoing battle as far as who needs to be louder when, half the chat's going to say the room was too loud. Half the chat's going to say they could hear Trevor and Jeff and Ben enough. Half won't. We can talk about that at length, but I think regardless, what I know is that this album has been written and recorded with Jeff as a full member. Shenanigans was written and recorded over years, right? And Jeff's parts were kind of, fit in after songs had already been built themselves. These were built with Jeff. And so we're going to really see a lot more growth and development of these songs in the world of percussion. I can't wait to see what happens next. So really, really happy. This is awesome, Connor. Ben was very engaged. That's good. That is good. That is
Connor
analysis we need.
Connor's firing on all cylinders today.
That's it, man. Yeah. We gotta join this family, man. They got some.
I know it. And a lot of people. One thing I wanted to add, a lot of people may not know, is actually the D in CBD stands for Dripfield. So just a big heads up for people. Yeah, just some factoids for you out there. So take that home and tell that to people as factual information and see what they say.
Yeah, see me drip. See me drip. Yeah, that's true. Sunset Lake, as we did establish on Sunday morning, a lake is just a field of drips.
Science.
It's science. Yes,
it's actually science. So yeah, crazy, inarguable, indisputable science.
Let's move ahead. Arcadia Encore. I just happened to be standing right back behind the stage. As the guys were discussing what they were gonna close the show with. Originally it was Tumble on the set list, and I just kind of peeked my head around the corner and said, it's a big show. Could be good for Arcadia. So sorry for those of you who wanted to hear Tumble. But I thought Arcadia was a fitting close to the show.
Oh, so did I. I just because people question my knowledge, I actually called this Arcadia out in the crowd like 3 or 4 minutes.
You called that the band would play their biggest song ever at their biggest show ever
for their encore. Yes, I did. So, I mean, when you talk about in-depth analysis, that is where the well springs from,
Mm-hmm.
And I actually thought they were going to do Everywhere and To Take On Me and just literally lose every fan they had. But no, they ended up going with Arcadia, like we knew they should. And I love the fake out a little bit to Tumble. Eric, Greg's assistant, I actually immediately was like, "Oh, this is Tumble," and like went to go get a water or pee really quick, and came back like 2 minutes later. It was like, no, it was Arcadia. So it was good fake out. It was a good Arcadia, great way to end. You can't go wrong with
sure.
Arcadia.
Trevor was ripping. I was saying, imagine if they did play Hot, Hot, Hot or something like that. That'd be insane. But great fitting close to an incredible night. And then Joey after showy, Greg and Bruce's room, till sunrise. But what I want to know is, with so many new songs played, with the guys whose catalog isn't big enough, with so many new songs played, at the show, and probably some things people didn't expect. I'm wondering, let us know in the chat what you think. Songs that you would have wanted to hear. Bruce, I know you had mentioned like you're Into the Mist and Creatures. You love that for the, kind of the energy. But what do you think, Bruce? And let us know in the chat what you guys missed.
Well, like I did, so I was going to try to make a post on Goose, community engagement and all that shit that doesn't matter. But I wrote up these 3 set lists that I was like, what would I want to hear? And it's really hard to put that together. I try to put some new songs in here. I put Madonna in there, a couple Madonna covers that they didn't do. I really don't know what I have to do to get them to play Holiday at Goosemas. I mean, we got a freaking podcast now, but no, I can't get one favor from these guys. But no, I would have loved to hear Creatures, of course, Wisteria. I mean, it's just hard because I'm used to a lot of the classics or the older songs, and love a lot of them really deeply. And I think a lot of people sort of wanted to hear hits. Some people wanted to hear new stuff. We knew everyone should have known we were going to get some new stuff. I think Dripfield was a given. A couple other new songs were a given. Redbird was probably a given. Silver Rising, I think a lot of people thought they might play. Jet Stone, we're never going to get it. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Marshall, we appreciate that you've been around for a long time.
Escape McNulty one. I mean, maybe Amadavon, but they played Arcadia. To me, it's like you're going to get one of those at a show. You're going to get Arcadia or Amadavon is like, one of the big fan favorites. I don't know. It's hard to say. FF, I kind of didn't want to hear. Well, which I always.
They just
they just did it, even though everything was on the table. They did just do it. It's hard to say. This is a band that's trying to go in a certain direction, and that's why they wanted to convey that direction to everyone on the stream. They wanted to try that direction to its fullest in this arena. It's going to be harder to tell what they're going to feel like doing in a show coming up, and what we're going to start wanting out of a show. Seekers. Yeah, I always love Seekers, but they played it a lot. I think some of the times they've been placing Seekers lately has been rough because it's a little bit too slow and poetic at some of the times that they put it in there. But I always love an upbeat dance show. Don't get me wrong. We've seen them at bars a ton of times. All those fun old school Goose shows. Like, I love that, of course. But there's so much about what they do now that I also like. And it's a more psychedelic or vibey or ambient kind of style, and a lot more indie vibes. I think something that people are going to have to get used to. So yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say. What were you planning on or really wanted to hear out of that?
I live by the words I saw Kendall McCargo, our friend Kendall, photographer extraordinaire, say. If you go in with expectations, it's the easiest way to leave disappointed. Let the guys do what they want to do. I'm actually, I did see that comment, could have seen a Dead cover, but like, the thing about it is I really like that. Obviously, Linus and Lucy was a given for a cover, and then Cinderman debut was cool, but otherwise, they stuck to Goose material.
To
really go out and play your own music. So for me, it would have been good. Okay, Connor, you're on fire today, like I said. For those of you who aren't Connecticut locals, the Wild Foxwoods had a slapper of a advertisement song in the mid-'90s when the casinos were being built. The Foxwoods, take a chance, make it happen. Bop the chord. Round it goes. That's an incredible song. Maybe Foxwoods will get the guys to play one day. But that would have been that. That's one I could have made an exception.
That would have been dope.
But
Camino 1, Chris Murphy, by the way, I just want to call this out. Camino 1, dude, I've been wanted. That's the Ted Tape song I've wanted for a really long time. Yeah. That thing is funky and cool as fuck. That is the next Ted Tape song I want to hear them play live for sure. I would have loved to hear that.
Yeah. I guess what could have ripped in there too was a Bobby Donnie.
Old Robert Donald.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, there's tons of shit. Europa would be a cool Ted Tape. I mean, there's Home Depot theme. I just want to hear Elephant Proof play that again. Yeah. But so, I mean, that's just, there's tons of stuff that they could have played, but it is what it is. They're going to go choose what they want. It's the same thing you get out of Fish shows and a lot of other shows. And that's why, like Kendall said, it's great. That's always how I approached Humphrey shows when I was really seeing them a lot in the 2000s and stuff. And I just never had an expectation of what was going to get played. I just liked hearing the bands play music that I went to go see a lot. And that's how it is with Goose, and sure, there's always something that you might want, you might not get out of it. And sometimes they might play the perfect show for you. But I like the approach that they took, and it just made a lot of sense. Given so many of the opportunities they had to do different things at Goosemas with a crowd that is mostly big fans and people who know them well, or who aren't going to be turned off by a show that it wasn't their favorite, so it's a good opportunity for them to try all of this stuff. And I think they were smart to take advantage in the way that they
definitely. But yeah, I think this comment from Alexander certainly wraps it well. The catalog is strong AF now. After this start to this year, all this new music, new jams, like so much coming at us, and a new album on the horizon. I am just so excited about the future. This was a huge exclamation mark on what was an incredible year last year. I'm kind of happy it happened in February. You know, they had an amazing pair of Chicago shows for New Year's, and like, you know, this almost celebrates like the first leg of tour.
Yeah, it does. Interesting. Yeah, interesting point. Yeah, but that's true.
Not a lot of chomping. EJ noticed. That's right. I certainly was chomping. Had a chance to actually run into Jeff and Steve Engborg of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of Jeff Engborg.
Yeah.
And I chomped all the way through Rosewood, catching up with them. I haven't seen them in years, so good that. But we were secluded. So, so let us know also in the chat. Like, just raise your hand. I don't know. Give me a thumbs up if it was your first Goosemas. Wondering because the in-person Goosemas was. Oh, there he is.
We got Jeff on the chat. Hell yeah.
Jeff. So let us know. Give me a thumbs up or a hi, whatever, if it was your first Goosemas in person, because I realized the last one we had with people was what? Wall Street?
Yeah, Wall Street. Yeah, Wall Street Theater in 2019.
Woo! Eric.
Yo.
We already talked about Finding Love.
I don't know who he's talking about.
That's for the studio episode. Tune in next Wednesday. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So a whole bunch of people first Goosemas ever. I can say as someone who has been to 7 of 8 Goosemases, welcome to all of you. You know, it's incredible that this is a tradition that has carried on with our friends for years, and you know, to see all of these people traveling, coming in, it's just amazing, you know. So we're looking forward to celebrating with all of you year after year.
Yeah, for sure. Goosemas is always the fucking greatest, dude. It's such a fun event. You know, I know Mohegan had its, you know, people had issues there with a lot of different things, and you know, it made it hard for people to get out for the one night. You know, pretty expensive rooms, the rescheduling. I mean, there was just a lot of things facing this event. You know, I thought it was great to see at least 6,000 people over there through the doors to the arena. You know, they did technically sell out, but I mean, it was nearly full of the 7,500 people, especially to start the show.
On paper,
so like
on paper it sold out on paper.
Yeah, and I mean, but even
in the arena, but the allocated seats went. So let's not argue about it. On paper, it sold out. Mohegan brought a cake backstage saying congratulations for the sellout. So we're on the same page. Argue about it until you're blue in the face, but that's what happened.
Well, and I know because we were looking, I was nervous about it, but I was looking around myself during the first set, looking around the arena, man, and there were not that many open seats in the upper decks. So like, they really packed that place out for given all of the challenges facing them. But it'll be cool to see what they end up doing this year with Goosemas at the end of the year. And there's always something different. They're always looking to try something different. They've had to pivot a lot with this event the last few years.
Definitely.
I expect to see something different altogether next time we see Goosemas. So always an event that delivers, and always a fun event to run into so many fans. It's like a huge reunion. So you know, definitely look forward.
I want to shout out Andrew Getty also. Andrew Getty is Goose's lighting director. Like, he worked on that stage design for over a year. He put his heart and soul into that, and I think it was on full display. It was beautiful. It was absolutely incredible. The depth, you can tell how connected he is to each song, how much thought he puts into every single song, every single scene that he creates. That's something special we cannot overlook. It was absolutely incredible.
He's one of the most, I mean, arguably the most talented guy out there. When you're just got a ton of talented people, he's exceptionally talented. And he did not only spend all of that time preparing for the design, but he's in this past week was at Mohegan a number of days early and was spending 16-hour days working on practicing with the lights and setting up this for 3 days in advance. So from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, just spending all day and night working on that stuff, and then setting it up Saturday and then working through the night Saturday. So he was a trooper through that, man, and it really paid off. Especially some of the lights during the new songs in the third set were ridiculous.
Absolutely. So all love to Getty, and you know, shout out to the band too. I mean, that was the biggest show they've ever played. It was a late night, and these guys are in DC getting ready to rock tonight for all of you. So I'm glad Kathy's on the road down there. We need a fan streaming all Goose because we're going to be ready to tune in tonight because we couldn't make it down there. Bruce, we got anything to give away today? Got anything on hand?
I mean, we could. Yeah, we have a lot. We have stuff. Do we have a giveaway question?
I'll go grab while you pulled the stuff up, I will.
Gonna go get this stuff.
Come up with a question for our friends who are still watching. So while Bruce goes and figures out what we're giving away, everyone feel free to comment on his gaming chair. And I
sucks. Gaming chair sucks.
I'm gonna figure out this.
Yeah, no stream, Kathy, for the DC shows, man. They're not fake glasses, Reed. They're big boy blue blockers.
Big boy blue blockers.
We actually have some more Rock and Relic stuff to give away.
Rock and
Thanks
Relics.
again. Thanks again to them, dude. Rock and Relics hooked us up with a ton of great merch. He's always making great fan merch. So check that guy out. And I know, so we have this really cool Western Sun Champion fanny pack, old school style.
God,
it's slick as hell. And then it drips, dude. It just
that's some drip right there.
And then we have an extra of the original Elmeg art card from Mike Kelly, Layered World Arts. So I had an extra one of these, so I wanted to give it away. He just released some new ones, like a purple variant of that at Goosemas. I lost mine in the midst of our 75-person hotel party till 6 a.m. So I might need to ask Mike for another one of those. But we got those two things to give away. So hopefully Greg has a good question for everybody.
We're gonna 75 person hotel party. We're gonna charge cover next year. All right. So question: Goosemas VII Rockefeller Center, 2020, December 2020. How much money did we raise? How much money did we raise for charity? How much money did we raise in the chat? Let us know. How much did we raise for charity? Goosemas 2020. You can win this Rock and Relics gear.
That's a good question and a tough one. I don't even remember. I think I have a figure in mind, but I'm not sure how accurate that is. Too much of chilling with Connor's dad this weekend,
No way. Winner, 45K. 45.
Holy smokes.
Narrowly edged out Connor. Sorry for highlighting you, Connor, there. 45K. A lot of people were close. Reed at 44, Greg at 42, Ryan at 50. But Noah Ray, our guy, Noah Ray Fan Club, you won that fanny pack. You better put something good in that fanny pack and bring it to me and Bruce at the next show we're at.
Man, I'm dismayed nobody guessed 69. Missed a golden opportunity.
Come on, Alex.
Close. At least McNulty said 420.
Oh, there it is.
There it is.
All right. So, Noah, feel free to hit up Bruce. Send him your address. We'll get that out to you. Well done, Noah. Travis, you're in second place.
You get second, which is just the credit for taking advantage.
So thank you all for tuning in. We'll be back, I guess, next Tuesday for live. And
I guess we just keep doing these.
One day we'll get a week off. So tune in. I guess somebody will stream and I'll Goose tonight. We're gonna peer pressure somebody to do it. And Tuesday's better be your favorites now. Thank every single one for tuning in. We love the support. We love how engaged everybody is in the chat. Stick with us on Tuesdays. We got more coming for you. And we look forward to taking a ride with all of you down the pathway to
a great deal. Goose Strip 2 Strip.
Dripping Town.
Osiris.